Hello and welcome to Art Beat, where art is the heartbeat of South Mississippi. I am your host, Elaine Stevens, and it is no secret that architecture is an art form unto its own. However, inside this building, designed by the Ely Guild Hardy Architectural Firm, an award-winning firm, is housed the most beautiful array of art from artists all over the state of Mississippi. You're going to hear about the Mississippi Art Colony, the oldest organization of its kind in the nation, right after this message. Well, welcome back to Art Beat. We're sitting here with Larry Buston with the Mississippi Art Colony, but we happen to be sitting on Frank Gehry Design Furniture, who of course is the mastermind behind the Oro Keep. So we're surrounded by art today, aren't we, Larry?
Yes, ma'am.
Absolutely. Well, I met Larry here during the travel show for the Mississippi Art Colony, but you've been associated with it for over 20 years.
Yes, ma'am.
Do tell us about the start of it. I hear it was when you were really 13 years old.
Yes, ma'am. The organization was formed in 1948 now by several artists in Mississippi who were painting now and just got together to say what they wanted to through the expression of painting now. And during the years now, they brought their families with them, and they painted for 2 weeks now.
And where was that initially?
It was at Allison Wells.
Up in, that's in North Mississippi.
It's above Jackson.
Above Jackson,
yes,
okay. And I heard it was like was it an old hotel? Or was
yes,
that
ma'am, it was an old hotel. And over the years, they had collected the winners of the different colony years now. And the hotel burnt down, and it burnt the art colony collection up, so we don't have any of the old pieces.
So you don't have the ones dating back to 1948?
No, ma'am. All of them was lost in the fire with the hotel antiques and stuff that were burned up.
And did they move the art colony after that?
It was moved from there to Stafford Springs in Law, and it stayed there for a couple of years. And then from Stafford Springs, it moved to the Pinehurst in Law and stayed there. Then it moved from there to Camp Henry Jacob, where it is now.
And that's in Utica, Mississippi,
yes,
just north of Jackson.
Yes,
so according to the Smithsonian Institute and some of the material that I was reading, the Mississippi Art Colony is truly one of the oldest organizations of its kind, welcoming artists from Mississippi to come there. But there's certain criteria, I understand. Is that true?
Yes, ma'am.
And what is that? Because you've painted there before.
Yes, ma'am. We let somebody that has to present a portfolio, or if someone knows them well enough that they submit their name to the committee now, and they come for 3 times, and then they become a member of the art colony then.
Automatically?
Automatically.
Wow.
Then. And we just have a good time up there painting. Some of them painting in watercolor, some mixed media, some in oil painting, just whatever they want to do. They use that media during the 4 days that we paint up there.
Now you have been painting since you were 13, did you say? Is that
well, I didn't really start painting until I was in high school. They didn't have any type of painting, but I've been drawing ever since I've been able to hold a pencil in my hand.
Now, you told me a fascinating story before we went on camera. You said something about the art colony, and little did you realize at that time that you'd be a member of it in the future. So,
yes,
could you tell us about
that? My dad was a carpenter now. He was a carpenter there for 30-something years. And Ms. Golden was she was a member of the art colony. And my daddy had done some work at their house So he asked her if I could come down after dinner that day. So I went back down and watched him paint for the rest of the evening, and went back home and did my thing. And it was, I guess, after I got out of college about, well, in 1990, I joined the art colony.
That is so fascinating. What do you feel it does for the artists of Mississippi?
Oh, it just gives us a better opportunity to express ourselves and to let people know that there are more stuff in society than just people getting in trouble. We try to let young people know that, give them a guidance in the art fields and show them what life is all about instead of crimes and all.
Well, I totally have to support that, and that's one of the missions of our show, Art Beat, is to not only showcase the the artists themselves, but to give people options in this society for things that create beauty and long-lasting beauty at that. And I'm sure that the work that you're going to see inside will absolutely thrill you. We have some winners that are directly from our community of Ocean Springs. Here we have Pat Odom and Susie Raniger and Sandra Hallett.
And Mary Hardy.
And Mary Hardy, who we'll be talking to in a little bit. But Larry, I just want to say that if you had a message to give the people of the state of Mississippi about the art colony, what would it be? What would be your message?
Well, I just asked them that they get involved with our art people in the communities now, and also with the Mississippi Art Colony. Contact them through our website or other ways now, so that they can get their kids interested in it, so we can keep this going for another 50-something years now, where we can let people know that we are real talented artists in Mississippi and all over the nation.
All over the nation.
Yes,
well, Mississippi is truly blessed with artists all over, and we are blessed down here in South Mississippi with tremendous artists, and you're going to meet a few of those right after we take this break, so stay with us. Well, in case you have just tuned into Art Beat, we're at Ely Guild Hardy Architects, where we are with the Mississippi Art Colony 2000 in Spring Travel Show.
Correct.
And Mary Hardy has actually coordinated that. Now, what is your capacity here at the firm itself?
Well, David Hardy is one of the original partners,
Right.
and so my husband, he's my husband's cousin, and so when I found out that they had this beautiful facility, I suggested they start a corporate art collection.
So
that's
you
how
were
this
the
came about.
instigator.
Yeah, I'm always looking for somebody to buy work.
But it just so happens that not only has she coordinated the show, but she's an artist in her own right, and you did win the Halcyon Barnes Memorial Award for Tightly Bound. Is that correct?
Correct, yes.
Yeah. Now tell us about that piece.
Well, a lot of my work deals with personal subject matter. It starts from that. It starts with a notion, you know, maybe a memory, it may be something I've read, it may be a picture that I've picked up from my family's past, and it just sort of makes me take that and evolve it, and I work very symbolically, so it becomes taking these images that may be personal, but the way I portray them in a universal way.
So
with
now,
the symbology.
with Tightly Bound, I see the figure of a woman, and that is obviously, is that taken from a personal photograph? Isn't it?
Right. It was my mother, actually.
That's your mom.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it's truly lovely. Now, the award itself, did it come as a surprise, or how did that?
It did. We have each colony. We meet twice a year,
Right.
and we always have very renowned instructor. We call them visiting arts instructors, and they juror the show. And also, so each artist, there's about 42 that come, and they can bring 2 works, 2 paintings, and 1 drawing. So roughly 90 pieces. You bring them in the first day, the juror picks which works that they want in the show, and it's 25 that travel. And then from those 25, the juror gives awards. So it's really an honor because it's like getting double juried, you know, into a show.
Well, let's talk about the next piece, Folded Wings.
Right.
Let's take a look over here. And now, Mary, the Folded Wings piece has a whole different feel.
Yeah, this one, you know, Katrina, okay?
Oh, yes.
So, you know, it's very much, it has that whirlpool kind of feeling and that Alice in Wonderland kind of feeling, you know. And I was thinking about Alice falling through the rabbit hole.
Right.
You know, and so it was very much about, you know, all of those kind of effects of Katrina. And after I did it, which it wasn't too long later, the oil spill came, and my heart just fluttered because I thought, how prophetic, because you see that black sort of dripping, you know, and so I just think art comes from our soul, and sometimes it starts to speak through us before we even realize.
Well, obviously there's a lot of excitement about the art itself and how you feel about it, because you've had such a great turnout here tonight for this opening of the awards. But, you know, I do see something very prophetic in that. I mean, it is about Katrina, and it does have that Wonderland feel to it, but at the same time, there's a darkness around it. So it's almost like you were, your soul was pouring out into this Folded Wings. Exactly. Now, this is watercolor.
It's mixed media, acrylic. There's photographic collage type pieces in it. Wall texture paint, all kinds of different materials. So I work with all kinds of media. That's mostly what my work is mixed media.
Now, you told me something fascinating, that you've been going to the colony since 1986?
Correct.
Wow, you must have been there a child.
Yeah, oh yes, 12 years old.
But what inspired you to go initially?
Well, you know, Sandra Hallett, I think, was president at the time. And I was teaching. I taught art for 27 years, and I was teaching at the time, and I just, you know, wanted an outlet. And she said, well, you know, you ought to come to the colony. So the first time I went, I actually went up with Sandra, and I was just hooked after that. It was like, you know, it's this family.
It is like a family.
And the energy is amazing. You know, you're with people that think and feel alike, and it just feeds you. It feeds you, and we work like crazy, you know, and it's so gratifying.
Well, I have to say that, and I talked to Larry, and he had such a feel for it as well, and I can see the passion in all of y'all's feelings about the colony itself. So ArtBeat's going to go on the road at some point, and we're going to have to go up to the art colony and take a look at
wonderful.
It. Don't expect me to paint a canvas, though,
well,
because I won't be doing.
We have plenty of paintbrushes, so we might slip one in, get you to try it out.
Well, now, with this show here, what's its next move? What happens with the show?
I think next it goes to Macomb. I should know that, but I don't have it in my memory. But it travels throughout the state.
That is wonderful.
And that's part of our mission, you know, of the art colony, is the education part. So we try to get it in venues where, you know, we can, you know, open the public up to what fine art is about.
Well, and Mary also wears a different hat. She happens to be the new curator at the Mary C. O'Keefe. So what can we expect in the Duckett Gallery?
We have so many great shows coming. The next one is going to be an artist from New Orleans who does these big lighted sculptures, paper and bamboo, and they're just wonderful. So my mission for the gallery there is, again, because it's an educational facility and I'm an educator, and that is very dear to my heart. You know, I think it's important to bring fine art in for the public to see what the bigger venue and what the bigger scope of art is that they would maybe otherwise have to go travel to see. So that's my mission for the gallery at the Orr, and I think they're real excited about that.
You mean at the Mary C?
At the Mary C, I'm so sorry.
Well, there's art at the Orr, too, and there's art at WAMA, so you know, we can't forget there's art everywhere around here. But you know, you don't have to go to New York and go to the Met. You can go right through our little villages right here on the Mississippi Gulf Coast and enjoy some of the most beautiful art by some of the most wonderful artists. So we're going to be looking at more of their art here at Ely Guild Hardy.
Correct.
In just a moment after this break. Thank you.
Thank you. That was great.
That was great.
I appreciate it.
Oh, no problem. Welcome back to ArtBeat. We are at Ely Guild Hardy Architects. Steve has corrected me. I apologize for that error.
Common mistake.
Absolutely. And Steve and I serve on the WAMA board together, so you're surrounded by art as well, even though now this is your first appearance on ArtBeat. But here at Ely Guild Hardy Architects, well, your capacity is design architect?
That's correct.
So what does that involve exactly?
Basically, I'm the director of design for the firm, so any project that comes through the office hits my desk at some point, and I'm involved in the design initially and through the construction document phase, ensuring that it's actually designed as we intended it.
Well, I mean, there's a tremendous amount of talent in this particular firm. I mean, it's surrounded by beauty all the time, but when you hear the name like Frank Lloyd Wright, you just think of maybe these people come from other places, but when you come into Ely Guild Hardy, you know that the lasting quality of their designs will be some of the legacies of Mississippi, of South Mississippi. You do such beautiful work.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So now, tell me about the travel show. This is pretty phenomenal that an architectural firm would host that, and there's even an award named after the firm.
That's correct. We've actually been involved with the Colony for 6 years now. We've sponsored an award for the past 6 years. And we've talked about having the exhibit here in the office for quite some time, and this year they actually contacted us and wanted us to have it here, so we're thrilled to have it here this year. We designed the office 7 years ago. We moved in right before Katrina, actually a month and a half before Katrina, and we designed the space to actually house art exhibits like you see here. This is the first one that we've been able to have, so we're very excited to have it here.
I'm envious of the wall space because you have tremendous walls that actually really showcase all this beautiful art.
The walls and the natural lighting, and also we have the track lighting in the lobby, which is specifically for hanging artwork and displaying it to its full advantage.
So this is a purposeful design. It's within nature, and a little bit about that because the walls are plastered with your awards as well as the artwork.
That's correct. This is actually a LEED certified building. It was actually one of the first in the state to be LEED certified, which means it's a green building. We use tons of recycled materials throughout the building, lots of interesting materials. We have a lot of biocomposite materials. We have crushed sunflower seed, board.
No kidding.
Yeah, all of the millwork is made out of that.
Where does one find crushed sunflower seeds? Besides Whole Foods or something?
Actually, I'm not sure where it came from, but it was one of the interesting products that we found that we could actually get LEED points for, as well as the carpet is all recycled.
Wow.
The paint is all chosen for the low VOC qualities of it. A lot of interesting things. The landscaping outside actually is all native species. We don't have any irrigation here, so everything was chosen because of its drought tolerance, so that way we don't have to use any water. And it's paid off in the long run. We have very low utility bills every month, so
there's a lot to be said for that. So this is rather an intentional type of community within itself, almost.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. So what is the plan for the building heretofore? I mean, it seems rather complete in itself, but I'm sure there's always something new on the drawing board.
As far as this building? Well, we're always changing. Obviously, the staff grew considerably after Katrina, and this building was designed to be very flexible. I don't know if you had a chance to tour the back of the building.
I did.
But we had probably 35 to 40 architects, or staff members, I should say, on board at the time of Katrina. And after that, work obviously just picked up tremendously, so we had to hire a lot of new people. And the flexibility of the building really paid off. We were able to actually rearrange all of the workstations and accommodate all of the new staff members that we had to hire.
And where do they come from, these staff members?
All over, actually, all over the country. We have people from as far away as Minnesota. A lot of Tennessee graduates have migrated down here, so just all over the country.
So obviously their architectural vision has to be compatible.
It does. It does, and I think we're very progressive as far as the architects here on the coast.
Definitely, that's a great word
and
for that.
I think that's very attractive to a lot of the younger interns that we've been able to hire.
Now, just for the sake of those who don't know, some of the buildings that Ely Guild Hardy has designed.
There are a lot. Actually, the firm dates back to 1953, so we have a very long history. One of our most prominent clients is the Jefferson Davis Junior College, or community college now. One of my partners, Taylor Guild, his father actually helped select the property for that project and design the initial design, which they won a national award for back in the 60s. And we've continued to do all of the work for them over the years. Some of the most recent jobs that we've won awards with are the Black Box Theater there at the community college.
At the community college,
That's correct. The new student center there. We've done a lot of educational work. The new Nichols and Gornflow Elementary Schools were some of our projects that were completed, unfortunately, right before Katrina, and then they were flooded. We had to redo them after the fact. The USM Library in Long Beach is one of our larger projects here on the coast. The Coliseum expansion is a project that we're working on with TVS out of Atlanta. We do a lot of joint ventures with other firms from around the country. And probably the most prominent project that we're working on is the Orr Museum, and you're obviously familiar with that.
I'm on the
since
board
you're
for that as well.
And we've worked with Frank Gehry, who is hands down the most famous architect in the world.
And I sat on the furniture out there, the Frank Gehry furniture.
You noticed. I'm glad you noticed that. So that's definitely one of the most exciting projects that we're working on in the office currently.
Well, I can see the passion in you for this work. Where did that begin?
I'm not sure. I've always known exactly what I wanted to do. I was probably in 4th grade before I knew the name for it.
Or spelling it, which must have been quite difficult. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I was probably in 3rd or 4th grade when I realized it was an architect that I wanted to be. So I've tailored all of my education towards that my entire life, and very happy I chose this career.
Well, it's so wonderful to know that someone has positioned himself in their own hometown and has taken such an interest, and then also decides that the local artists then have a way to showcase their work right here in this building. We're surrounded by Norma Seward's work, Mary Pat Forrest, Pat Odom, obviously Mary Hardy, and so many more from the art colony. But this feels like a colony of passion and art within itself. So coming to work must be truly a joy.
It really is. It is.
Yeah.
And especially being in such a wonderful space. We had actually consolidated 2 offices, one in Biloxi and one in Gulfport, into this space prior to Katrina, as I mentioned. And those are both nice spaces, but they were very small and cramped. And there just was a lack of synergy being in 2 locations. So being in one big building like we are now just really creates a lot of synergy between everybody.
Well, now, and moments ago, the lights went out. So tell us a little bit about why the lights
Yeah, that's
flicker.
actually because of the time. We're here late tonight, and the building shuts itself off automatically at a certain time, and that's what was happening. And that's part of the eco-friendly nature of the building. Is that
Sort
it's
of like the
designed
end of
to-
the show.
Exactly. So once nobody should be here, then the building just shuts itself
Yeah,
down
and it beat the
automatically.
countdown that Phil was going to give me for the end of the show. So, well, Steve, it's been a pleasure, and we're going to look at more of the art that's out in the lobby and down the hallways. So when we return with more Art Beat right after this message. Well, I'm here at the Ely Guild Hardy architectural firm looking at all this magnificent art. For example, Richard Stevens, he's done a watercolor, and then there's Gary Simmons, which his piece is called Hay Bales. There's another Richard Stevens, Nude with Pillows, absolutely lovely. Pat Odom is represented here, like I had mentioned before, Susie Raniger. Other artists, including Martha, Andre, her Good Morning Hydrangeas. You need to come down here and take a look at this. The exhibit's going to be here for about a month. There's Gary Simmons, and then one of my favorite artists is Sandra Hillette, and her piece is called Just a Cow. But I'm going to show you my absolutely favorite piece. Everything Seemed Okay Until the Dog Left Town by Constance Keith Alford. That was the #1 Art Colony winner. Isn't Art Beat fun? I mean, every week that we do something here, we show you something new and interesting, and we want your ideas as well. So please email us at www.wkfk.com and let me know what you'd love to see on Art Beat. And we'll see you next time. Thanks for joining us.